One day, maybe, with the flight of a loving swallow, the word smile will come back to my burnt land. Hope will knock on the door, and white will replace all black. On that day, even for the dead, I will not wear black, even for the most beloved of the dead. That was one of Parvaneh Forhouhar's last poems in her collection before she was viciously stabbed to death for speaking up against the injustices of the Islamic Republic of Iran 24 years ago. 24 years ago, brilliant women, powerful women like Parvaneh were silenced into shallow graves in a series of assassinations carried out by Iran's Ministry of Intelligence. 24 years later, we are still fighting the same battle, femicide. Since the start of the recent protests, women and young girls have been detained and held in undisclosed locations where they are mentally and physically tortured. Girls like 20-year-old Armita Abbasi are kidnapped and raped by multiple men at once. Her sexual assault was so brutal that it led to internal bleeding. I want you all to know that this is not the first instance that our women have had to endure such brutalities. The Islamic Republic of Iran has continually committed atrocities against the women of Iran since its establishment in 1979. There has not been a year or a month where a woman has not faced abuse at the hands of the system. The mothers of Khavaran, whose virgin daughters were raped the night before their executions to prevent them from entering heaven in the 80s and buried in mass graves, to this day have not attained justice. The women who faced acid attacks for improper veiling in 2014 have not attained justice. The elementary school girls tear-gassed in class this year for unveiling have not attained justice. Gilaki girls like Ghazal Qasemi that were forcefully admitted into mental asylums and drugged to silence have not attained justice. Little girls in Baluchistan like 7-year-old Hasti who were shot and killed for simply walking have not attained justice. Because whoever dares defends them also gets prosecuted. We all know the story of Nasrin Sotoudeh, the brilliant human rights lawyer who was detained for representing girls like Armita and every other victim of Iran's human rights abuses. Her honest work became the cause of a never-ending cycle of bogus attempts of imprisonment. After every sentence served, the government of Iran would find another way to detain her, using shameful excuses such as prostitution or conspiracy against the government. The battle between the Islamic Republic and women is endless. If we're not busy fighting the system, we are busy fighting a battle in our own homes. Iran holds the world record for highest domestic abuse cases, with less than 35% being reported at that. Women cannot leave the country without permission from their husbands. They cannot ask for divorce or have custody of their children. Female athletes like Nilufar Ardalan have their careers risked by their husbands who refuse to let them play in international games to fulfill their wifely duties. Girls like Sahar Khodayari, also known as the Blue Girl, set themselves on fire in hopes of one day just being able to enter a stadium to watch a soccer game. There is no place for reformation in a system with child labor, restrictive dress codes, gender apartheid, femicide, and ethnic discrimination. On days like Bloody Friday, a government agent raped a 15-year-old girl. A grown man abused and assaulted the body of a 15-year-old girl, and when the people of Zahedan took the streets to demand justice, they were massacred. They were massacred by the same figures that raped one of their own. But who do you go to when the police are murderers? Who do you go to when government figures rape people and get away with it? And who do you turn to when lawyers and NGOs can't bring you justice? Yet throughout all this, Iranian women are still amongst the most educated in the country. Yet their brilliance is shielded by the oppression of the Islamic Republic in the workplace, in the state, and in their own homes. Jina's death was the final spark that fueled the rage that's been burning in the hearts of Iranian people for the past 43 years. This movement started with her, and it will end with the liberation of every woman in Iran. This is not a protest. It is a revolution. It is a revolution led by women, a revolution not led by centralism, but a revolution led by the most marginalized groups. Women of Baluchistan, with your floral chadors, your niqabs, and your brightly colored skirts. Kurdish women, with your strength and resilience. Arab women of Ahwaz, with your henna-stained hands. We will fight alongside you, and we will not back down until every woman in Iran is given the freedom to veil or unveil. Until Kurdish women and every other minority is offered reparations for the years of systemic abuse and discrimination they faced. Till child marriage is outlawed and every political prisoner is set free. We will continue the fight for Jina. We will continue the fight for Nikah, for Hasti, and every other martyr of this revolution. For women, life, freedom. Zan, Zindagi, Azadi.